Alright, so I am going to be making my signature buttermilk cheeseburger pocket. So first things first, I have to make the biscuits. While I'm making the biscuits, I'm going to be having all of the meat and vegetables browning. And this will be a mix of about 2/3 to 1 of ground beef and Italian sausage. So while we're waiting, we're going to mix in. This is buttermilk to make the buttermilk biscuits. I'm making a double batch, so I have a 3 1/3 cup of buttermilk. Now you can go buy buttermilk from the store, but instead I'm going to do what I normally do and make my own buttermilk. And we are going to be trying a couple of different new things today, as for the first time I'm going to be seeing what will happen when I try to put them into muffin tins, both small and I have larger ones, along with the regular ones that I just make on a cookie sheet. By the way, this recipe can be used again if you just, everything I'm doing right here, replace it with croissants, and it works perfectly fine. So now, oil's been heated up, so we're going to add in our onions and peppers. I've got probably about 2/3 of an onion in here, and probably about a full bell pepper. So we're going to let those caramelize for just a second. Next, we're going to add into a large bowl our flour, and then we're going to add the baking soda and baking powder. Both of these, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 3 teaspoons of baking powder. Add those in there. We also add the salt, and the sugar, so it doesn't matter. And you're going to whisk this together. Once it's all nicely mixed together, you're going to take 10 tablespoons, in this case 20, of butter. You're going to mix it in there, and you're going to mix the butter into the dry mixture and coat them, breaking them up, making them about pea size. Once they get to pea size, that's about the consistency you want. Alright, now that this is mixed and this is still caramelizing, we're going to add the buttermilk. Now we're going to take a wooden spoon and we're going to just kind of fold it so we get a nice pasty dough. Alright, now that the onions and peppers are caramelized, we're going to take my about 2/3 pound of beef. Normally it calls for a pound. And I'll show you in a moment where I got this cookbook from. And here is my pound of Italian beef. Today I'm going to be using a little bit of chili powder, some brown sugar bourbon, and salt. Diboja. I'm going to be using some roasted garlic and herb. So now I'm getting ready. I got a little bit of flair here. And if you are doing this by yourself, and you want to make, it is okay to make this first, considering the fact you do want it browned, but you're basically just warming it up while cooking the biscuit back. Now we're gonna oil down our pans. Now I dip my hands in flour, so that way the dough does not stick to my hands. I have flour down here. We're gonna just remove some biscuit dough, roll it around as you kind of want it to. You don't want to mix more flour in, so that way it has a nice consistency, and that way it also bake up nice. And we're gonna try this. We're gonna see what happens. All right, so I'm just kind of rolling these up. You can kind of see it here. I'm just rolling them up. This has been sprayed down with cooking oil, so that way it don't stick. And I'm just kind of putting it in here, squishing it into the bottom, taking about a spoonful or however much you want it. If you don't want cheese, you can put more meat in there if you want. You add a little bit of cheese in there.
Yummy.
Kind of just pinch it up. Kind of like a dumpling, except American and worse. But I'm going to show you how to actually make the pockets like I do. So you're going to take a small bit of dough. You're going to make sure it's all floured up. And you're going to kind of squish it out until you got nice flat disc, kind of like pizza. You know, flatten it out real nice. You're going to take your insides. Put them in there. This time you can put a decent amount because they actually get kind of big. You can make them as big or as small as you want, so long as you can pinch them up. Add that cheese in there, that makes it so nice. And then, wrap it up. Bring all the ends together, and you're going to pinch them repeatedly. Kind of like this. Pinch them a lot because it'll fuse the dough together. You're going to hit them with one of these. I'm like rotating it in my hand. I don't know if you can see that. But that'll give you a relatively nice. And these are kind of like pizza, like a bigger version of pizza rolls, or kind of like Hot Pockets, but a little smaller. And again, you can make them as small or as big as you want. That's why we're trying them on the small sheets. We're going to see if that'll work out. If that does, I might do that. 450 is about what you want. I'm going to move the racks around. Now, these are technically biscuits, so remember that whenever you're doing this, because they will expand, very similar to muffins. So be careful of kind of how you're doing it. And so it takes about 30 minutes, so we're going to set it for 15, and then we're going to come back, and about at that 15, I'll probably switch it again at probably like around 10 minutes, then flip it at 15, and then flip it again at 20-ish minutes, so that way they kind of cook evenly. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up my space a little bit and come back. Time, we'll get to see my little ideas come to fruition, as I'm going to pull out one of the regular ones, and the small one hopefully turned out well. So I did flip these halfway through. Not raw, so as you can tell, they're still a little squishy, and that's kind of what you want. You don't want them too hard, crunchy, because then they start getting burnt. And these are perfectly done. They're very dense, but they're also extremely good. So we're gonna set that off to the side a little bit, and we're gonna grab out the little ones that we had in the little pan. We're gonna try those, see how those are. Eternity, if you want to come here, you can try these with me. So these, while they're not brown on the bottom, are brown on the sides. And if we're gonna peel it open, we're gonna see. Biscuit dough looks relatively cooked on the inside. I'm gonna try a bite. A little squishy, could use a little more time. What do you think, Eternity?
Put that with some ketchup and or some ranch, and it'd be perfect.
Alright.
I think it's perfect. No notes.
Look. Come here. Try the bottom half. That's the part I was worried about.
Great food.
Still good? Alright. Now I'm going to break open one of the big ones, kind of show you. See, there's the cheese. You can see it looks, get this right, it looks pretty nice on the inside. These are probably the best I've ever made. They've got the thinner walls. It is still a little gooey on the inside, but those turn out great. And again, any kind of sauce, and they work great.